Cannot speak. I have a cough. I've got the sneezes too. I feel so bad with this cough. But what am I to do? They've got no right to make me speak. I've got this awful cough. Now, why didn't they consider it? Why didn't they let me off? But as I'm here, well, here comes a sneeze. I'll go ahead. Oh, what a cold. Another sneeze. It's not my nose quite red. I came out here to make a speech. Oh, no, I came to sneeze. But if I hadn't come, my friends would have made an awful breeze. How can I speak with such a cough? I've got an awful cold. I cannot speak. I'll sneeze my piece. Just see me now. Behold. Yes, that's the way. I'll sneeze my piece. And can't I do it well? I feel I'll have to go and have a sneezing spell. We live in remarkable times. I can hold my child in one arm and crank the handle of an automatic washing machine in the other at the same time. I have a pushing machine which will suction dirt out of my rugs as I simply manipulate a handle of it over the carpets in my home. My life is replete with conveniences hitherto unheard of in this world. If I have a grease fire in my kitchen, I can pump a canister of powders on it to extinguish the flames. And yet, amidst all of these wonders, I am an exile with respect to the voting rights in my own country. Fellow men and women, I am here tonight to discuss a cause that's human, and it is the rights of that downtrodden creature known as woman. I do believe the sexes were made in all ways equal, with women a little more so than men, as per my sequel. I do believe the world today would be better without man creatures. As a failure, man is a great success, almost a superhuman. And I bless my stars every day of my life that my mother was a woman. So you see, I'm in the swim with you all. Pray don't clap, sisters. My father being a man, I'm weak. My brains are mere air blisters, liable to snap at any time and make no end of commotion. And so you will kindly consider me and restrain your loud emotions. Let me see. Well, they say man was created first. I beg you will unveil your anger at that. Any first attempt is bound to be a failure. If I were a betting woman, I'd bet my very bottom dollar that the first attempt is to success as a paper to a linen collar. And supposing the man came first, the decentest thing about him was his rib that made something better, yet which was worse with him than without him. And then they throw into woman's teeth that miserable apple story, which for all the years since time began has been man's chiefest glory. Now, I'll bet $5 Adam took Eve and boosted her up, she fearing and screaming and crying, and Adam shaking his fist up at her and swearing. And I'll go 10 better and say I'll bet when she came down bent up double, he ate the apple, skin and all, and gave her the core for her trouble. Ha! What did he do when he was found out, his rights as a man assuming? He hid behind her and said, "'Twasn't I that took it, 'twas the woman." Yes, a woman fathers everything mean and mothers it too, poor creature. And shall she stand it any more? I appeal to you. Every feature is working in every face I see. My fellows in affliction, let my last words, if not my first, carry a firm conviction, and they are that we want the ballot, and we'll have it, now or never, and the man that dares oppose us be anathema forever. We'll have to vote if we let our back hair down behind us and swim in a sea of sanguinary gore that's pretty sure to blind us to mercy and pity and all the silly virtues a man will grant us when he wants to get the better of us and make our conscience haunt us, and we show the world what strength there is in the will of woman. We'll have the vote, every one of us, if we marry to get it. We're human. Well, I'm very happy for them that has time to go around to trying to get the vote for women. As for me, I'd be lucky if I got time to get my supper meal coming up now. And yet I do fancy a wee daughter someday. Maybe she'll study up, go to university, become a doctor. Maybe my wee son will follow too after she's gone. Perhaps they'll find something better to cure what ails you besides powders and pills and baths and bleeding, eh? Nothing but rubbish is that. Well, bad was the wife of Barney O'Lynn. Worse did she get, and more sallow and thin. Nothing but taters could Barney obtain, and wifey had them again and again. Sickened she was, and one morning did cry, "Barney, me darling, I fear I shall die." "Was it dying you mentioned?" said Barney the true. "Don't die till I fetch you old Dr. McDrew." The doctor appeared and went off to the bed, counted her pulse and shook his bald head, then taking a rickety tub for a seat said, "Barney, what's your wife had to eat?" "Praties, your honour, insult now and then," proudly says Barney O'Lynn. "Well, Barney, some leeches. I'll send her to try, and if she don't have them, she'll speedily die." The dozen of leeches made Barney to stare. "Tarrin ages," said he, "but they look mighty queer, and bottled he sent them, as sure as I'm here. But how we're to cook them, I've got no idea." "His worship left word, Barney, didn't he, hey?" "No, sir, since his honour did say. But sure we can't tell until we've tried. So 6 shall be boiled and 6 shall be fried." Well, Barney boiled 6 with taters, he did, and the other half dozen he fried in the lid. "Ah, the queer little spalpeens are doing quite finely. Holy Virgin," said he, "but they smell quite nicely." "It's long, wifey dear, since you've had such a treat," said he, as he brought her a knife and a plate. Then he raised her in bed, and the leeches he brought her, and stood by to wait, as a gentleman ought her. Wifey looked pleased very much, and she smiled as she daintily stuck her fork into a bile. Then with great satisfaction the cold little creature she popped in her mouth with a piece of potato. She munched, but her face became longer and longer. The doubt in her features grew stronger and stronger. Still the leech, with an effort, she managed to swallow. But a storm of disgust the bile leeches did follow. Barney, who wifey in wonder had eyed, said, "Darling, don't eat 'em. Try one of the fried." Well, wifey tried two, and by some means or other she bolted them down, but she tried not another. Barney did press her, but still we must own he wouldn't feel hurt if she left them alone. No dinner he'd had, and he thought that his taters would be greatly improved by the odd little creatures. So he finished the 9 without any more fussing, while she in her heart the odd creatures was cussing. But Barney, who wasn't o'er nice in his taste, thought no one with leeches could quarrel the least. The tale of the leeches is pretty much ended. We've only to say Barney's wife quickly mended. No doubt 'twas the leeches. You stare, perhaps grin. Yes, likely, say you. Well, ask Barney O'Lynn, and he'll tell you whenever wifey has spasms or screeches, he cures her directly by just saying, "Leeches." Fine little mangles of waving black hair, with the roses so red and the lilies so fair, and the myrtle so bright with its emerald dew, the pale and the leader with eyes look like blue. I will dance, I will sing, and my heart shall be gay. I will charm every heart, in his crown I will sway. When I woke from my dream and my idols were clay, the portions of love had all flown away. Oh, he taught me to love him and promised to love, and to cherish me over all others above. a word of farewell. Oh, he taught me to love me and called him his flower that was blooming to cheer him through life's dreary hour. Oh, how I long to see him and regret the hour he's gone and replaced his pale wildwood flower. Many's the night my love and me sat on the porch, and with a court and dulcimer, one like unto this one, with 2 fretboards, so's with your knees touching and facing one another, you and your love can play a song together. We sat playing by the hour. Sometimes we'd get to gazing more than we were playing, and Mama'd come out onto the front porch and ask with a tapping of the foot just what it was we was playing. But she was kind. Give us her blessing in the end. God makes such nights, all white and still, furs you can look or listen, moonshine and snow on field and hill, all silence and all glisten. Now Zeke crept up quite unbeknown and peeked in through the window. And there sit Huldy, all alone, with no one nigh to hinder. A fireplace filled one room's side with half a cord of wood in. There weren't no stoves till comfort died to bake you to a pudding. The walnut logs shot sparkles out toward the purtiest girl, bless her, and little flames danced all about the china on the dresser. Against the chimney crooknecks hung, in amongst them, a rusted old queen's arm that Grandfather Young fetched back from Concord, busted. The room, 'cause she was in, seemed warm from floor to ceiling, and she looked as full and rosy as the apple she was a-peeling. 'Twas kind of kingdom come to look on such a blessed creeter. A dog rose blushing to a brook ain't modester nor sweeter. He was 6 foot a man, A1, clean grit and human nature. None couldn't quicker pitch a ton nor draw a furrow straighter. He'd sparked it with full 20 gals, had squired 'em, danced 'em, drove 'em, first this one and then that by spells. But all is, he couldn't love 'em. Along of her, his veins had run all crinkly like curled maple. The side she brushed was full of sun as a south slope in mid-April. She thought no voice had such a swing as his'n in the choir. My, when he made Old 100 ring, she knowed the Lord was nigher. And she'd blush scarlet right in prayer when her new meetin' bonnet felt somehow through its crown a pair of blue eyes sot upon it. Well, that night, I tell you, she looked some. She seemed to have got a new soul, but she felt certain sure he'd come right down to her very shoe sole. She heard a foot and knowed it, too, a rasping on the scraper. Oh, ways to once her feelings flew like sparks in burnt-up paper. He kind of lingered on the mat, some doubt fire or the secco. His heart kept going pit-a-pat, and hers went pity-pat-seckle, pity-pat-seckle. And yet she gin her cheer a jerk, as though she wished him further, and on her apple she kept to work, paring away like murder. You want to see my pa, I suppose? Well, no, I come designing to see my ma. She's sprinkling clothes again tomorrow's ironing. To say why gals act so or don't could be presuming. Maybe to be yes, meaning yes, and then say no comes natural to women. He stood first on one foot first, and then stood a spell on the other, and on which one he felt the worst, he couldn't have told you another. Said he, I'd best call again. Says she, think likely, mister. That last word pricked him like a pin, and well, he up and kissed her. When Ma by and by upon him slips, Huldy set pale as ashes, all kind of smiley round the lips and teary round the lashes. For she was just a quiet kind whose natures never vary, like streams that keep a summer mind snow-hid in January. But the blood close round her heart felt glued too tight for all expressing, till Mother see how matters stood and give 'em both her blessing. Then her red came back like the tide down to the Bay of Fundy, and all I know is they was cried in the meeting come next Sunday. Well, in these Democratic and Republican days, a fellow can marry up or down, a high-born girl or a farm girl, as one chooses. However, one must look well together with one's mate, and that is the thing that really matters. One needn't go to Baden-Baden for the cure to find a certain girl, but if you don't look well together, this new art of photography is so blessed accurate, it can hardly paint over a poor match, now can it? But one thing is certain to gain you the perfect mate, and that is the perfect mustache. Oh, all of you poor single men, don't ever give up in despair, for there's always a chance while there's life to capture the hearts of the fair. No matter what may be your age, you always make a fine dash. You will suit all the girls to a hair if you've only got a mustache. A mustache, a mustache, if you've only got a mustache. If you sing with me, you will proclaim our message to the rafters. A mustache, if you've only got a mustache. No matter for manners or style, no matter for birth or for fame, all these used to have something to do with young ladies changing their name. There's no reason now to despond or go and do anything rash, for you do though you can't raise a cent if you'll only raise a mustache. A mustache, a mustache, if you'll only raise a mustache. A mustache, a mustache, if you'll only raise a mustache. Your head may be thick as a block and empty as any football. Oh, your eyes may be green as the grass, your heart just as hard as a wall. Yet take the advice that I give. You'll soon gain affection and cash, and you'll be all the rage with the girls if you'll only get a mustache. A mustache, a mustache. If you'll only get a mustache. A mustache, a mustache. If you'll only get a mustache. I once was in sorrow and tears because I was jilted, you know. So right down to the river I ran to quickly dispose of my woe. A good friend, he gave me advice and timely prevented the splash. Now at home I've a wife and 10 heirs, and all through a wonderful mustache. A mustache, a mustache, and all through a handsome mustache. A mustache, a mustache, and all through a handsome mustache. He struggled to kiss her. She struggled the same to prevent him, so bold and undaunted. But as smitten by lightning, he heard her exclaim, "Avaunt, sir!" And off he avanted. But when he returned with a wild, fiendish laugh, showing clearly that he was affronted and threatened by main force to carry her off, she cried, "Don't!" And the poor fellow don'ted. When he meekly approached and got down at her feet, praying loud as before he had ranted that she would forgive him and try to be sweet, and said, "Can't you?" The dear girl recanted. Then softly he whispered, "How could you do so? I certainly thought I was jilted. But come thou with me, to the parson we'll go. Say, wilt thou, my dear?" And she wilted. Then gaily he took her to see her new home, a cabin by no means enchanted. "See, here we can live with no longing to roam," he said, "shan't we, my dear?" So they shantied. In the sky the bright stars glittered, on the bank the pale moon shone, and 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. You know it. I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. On my lips a whisper trembled, trembled till it dared to come. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. Together now. I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. On my life, new hopes were dawning, and those hopes have lived and grown. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. I was like those young people once, full of hope in my heart. I used to write books when I was first a bride, books about noble love and sacrifices to the greater good and of wondrous adventures. Well, I went to look in the cedar trunk for those books the other day. All I found were the scribblings of a young and infatuated bride. I never would have had them published anyway. But perhaps it's enough to have worked hard, to have just worked hard for a living. One day I went walking, I heard a complaining, and saw an old woman the picture of gloom. She gazed at the mud on her doorstep, 'twas raining, and this was her song as she wielded her broom. Oh, life is a toil and love is a trouble. Beauty will fade and riches will flee. Pleasures they dwindle and prices they double, and nothing is as I would wish it to be. These are the words of Mrs. Sarah Price. Maybe you'll sing them with me. Perhaps it'll cheer you up a little bit. Oh, life is a toil and love is a trouble. Beauty will fade and riches will flee. Pleasures they dwindle and prices they double, and nothing is as I would wish it to be. There's too much of worriment goes to a bonnet. There's too much of ironing goes to a shirt. There's nothing that pays for the time you waste on it. There's nothing that lasts us but trouble and dirt. Oh, life is a toil and love is a trouble. Beauty will fade and riches will flee. Pleasures they dwindle and prices they double, and nothing is as I would wish it to be. In March it is mud, it is slush in December. The midsummer breezes are loaded with dust. In fall the leaves litter in muddy September. The wallpaper rots and the candlesticks rust. Oh, life is a toil and love is a trouble. Beauty will fade and riches will flee. Pleasures they dwindle and prices they double, and nothing nothing is as I would wish it to be. There are worms on the cherries and slugs on the roses, and ants in the sugar and mice in the pies. The rubbish of spiders no mortal supposes, and ravaging rodents and damaging flies. Oh, life is a toil and love is a trouble. Beauty will fade and riches will flee. Pleasures they dwindle and prices they double, and nothing is as I would wish it to be. With grease and with grime from corner to center, forever at war and forever alert. No rest for a day lest the enemy enter. I spend my whole life in a struggle with dirt. Oh, life is a toil and love is a trouble. Beauty will fade and riches will flee. Pleasures they dwindle and prices they double, and nothing is as I would wish it to be. The Women's Christian Temperance Union has established a reading room in the old butcher's shop around the corner from the train depot. We carry a full range of daily and weekly newspapers, all of the monthly magazines, and a collection of wholesome books to lend. There is a public water fountain, a children's reading corner, and healthful refreshments available. We invite you to visit the reading room with your families any day except Sunday. We hope to see you soon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now some words from the speech of our great General Clinton B. Fisk from his Independence Day address at Woodstock, Connecticut, this past July 4th of the great year of 1888. Not less than 80,000 victims go annually to the drunkard's grave from the home of this land. Pestilence and war combined do not, in this country, equal its destructive energy. The waste of human life wrought every 5 years by our 200,000 saloons is equal to the destruction of life by armies numbering millions of men during the entire War of the Rebellion. In their hands, strong drink is a weapon so fatal that the 500,000 drunkard makers are able to accomplish more in the same period than 4 times their number could with shot and shell, fire and sword, and all the appliances of modern warfare. The cruelty of war is not measured by the number of those who fall in battle, but by the unutterable woe and bitter anguish of broken hearts and desolated homes. Most emphatically is it true that the mere destruction of 80,000 lives every year affords no measure of the relentless cruelty of the liquor power in its war against society. To realize this, you must go to the dishonored homes, question the broken hearts, read the voiceless misery in wan and haggard faces, hear helpless children cry for food, see them stricken down by drunken and infuriated fathers, and sometimes by besotted mothers. Witness the debauchery and ruin of youth and the utter degradation, ignorance, poverty, and misery which everywhere and always accompanies the victims of the saloon. The prohibition of the liquor traffic is the demand of the people, and politicians and statesmen who fail to heed it are treasuring up wrath against the day of wrath. Prohibition is in the air. The nation's heart is beginning to throb with its music. Its coming is whispered on every breeze. The rising tide breaks all along the shore, and each succeeding white-fringed billow washes further up the strand. 'Tis weary watching wave on wave, and yet the tide heaves onward. We build like corals grave on grave, but pay the pathway sunward. We're beaten back in many a fray, but newer strength we borrow. And where the vanguard rests today, the rear shall camp tomorrow. Then shall our whole union become the citadel of sobriety. The national name be purged of this great shame, and our glorious banner be the flag of hope for all mankind as it floats over a sober, free, and happy people. Speeches make me thirsty. Now, I'm not saying I disagree with what the good general has said, but realistically speaking, is it really the answer to prohibit all liquor? Do you take from all the apothecary shelves those cough mixtures containing alcohol, because there would be no cough mixtures on the apothecary shelves? Do you ban the street peddlers from selling Dr. Bonner's famous elixir enervating to the body? 90 proof, I might add. Do you stop making fruitcake with rum in it? Because that could be intoxicating also. Well, I believe in keeping homes together and homes happy. But I don't happen to think that prohibition is the answer. We're coming, our brave little band. On the right side of temperance, we do take our stand. We don't use tobacco because we do think that the people who use it are likely to drink. Away, away, with rum by gum, with rum by gum, with rum by gum. Away, away, with rum by gum, the song of the Temperance Union. Now, if you feel the need to bang a fist on a table or stomp your foot on the floor in the emphasis of the message, why, you feel free to do just that. We never eat fruitcake because it has rum, and one little bite turns a man to a bum. Oh, can you imagine a sorrier sight than a man eating fruitcake until he gets tight? All together now, way away with rum by gum, with rum by gum, with rum by gum. Away, away with rum by gum, the song of the Temperance Union. We never eat cookies because they have yeast, and one little bite turns a man to a beast. Oh, can you imagine a greater disgrace than a man in the gutter with crumbs on his face. Away, away with rum by gum, with rum by gum, with rum by gum. Away, away with rum by gum, the song of the Temperance Union. We may well indeed the fun that is made on our behalf. We may certainly sometimes make very large matters out of very small details and amount to not much of anything. But the fact that one tries to do better, that one attempts to solve life's little problems, that one strives to make the world a slightly better place for the wee ones than it was when we were young. Why? That is the beauty of living. Our lives are songs. God writes the words and we set them to music at pleasure. And the song grows glad or sweet or sad as we choose to fashion the measure. We must write the music, whatever the song, whatever its rhyme or meter, and if it is glad, we may make it sad, or if sweet, we may make it sweeter. Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when o'er the earth the mists began to fall, out of the dreams that rose in happy throng, lo, to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk where fell the firelight gleam, softly it wove itself into our dream. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's sweet song, comes love's old sweet song. Even today we hear love's song of yore. Deep in our hearts it dwells forevermore. Footsteps may falter, weary grow the way, still we can hear it at the close of day. So to the end, when life's dim shadows fall, love will be found the sweetest song of all. Just a song at twilight, When the lights are low and the flickering shadows softly come and go, though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's sweet song, comes love's old sweet song. Fine little mangles of waving black hair, with the roses so red and the lilies so fair, and the myrtle so bright with its emerald dew, the pale and the leader with eyes look like blue.